Hey everybody, welcome back. Season 4.
I can't believe that. Good Lord.
AMS Bowfishing, the Bowfishing Buzz Podcast, presented by AMS Bowfishing.
And Megamouth Bowfishing.
My name is Matthew.
My name's Derek.
And yeah, we're going to be coming back with the Bowfishing Buzz Podcast. I know we were here, for the last 3 years doing these. We had a couple on and off, and I know we really didn't, follow through with doing them every 2 weeks, but we just kind of ran out of stuff to do, and just like I'm sure a lot of others out there, once that bowfishing starts to, that season starts to dwindle down, we just have big spots in our hearts for archery hunting and some fall fishing as well.
Yeah.
So, we apologize for not, going through every, couple of weeks with the podcast, but we're going to do our best this year to be a little more consistent on them and try to be out there for you so you got some stories to listen to and stuff like that and kind of show you how our season is going throughout the year.
Yeah.
So
I think one of the things, too, and I hate to sound like we're making excuses for it, but we do these podcasts to start the year strong, just like we're doing now, which I can't believe we've been doing it for 4 years.
4 years, Schmitty.
Oh, my gosh. That seems like just yesterday that we brought it up that we were going to do it. But we'll do it, and then we get into that, April, May, June timeframe, and we just start cranking here. It gets crazy busy, and that's fantastic. We love every second of it. There's just not enough hours in the day. That's what ends up happening.
Right.
And then, Matt, you're gone on trips, and then fall rolls around, and God knows where. Like you said, we're in the woods deer hunting, and it just all of a sudden we look back and we're like, oh my gosh, it's been 3 months since we put out a podcast, but we're going to be better.
We're going to try to do a lot better this year.
Yeah.
Yes. No doubt about that. And, it's a little different. A lot of you that live in the South, your bow fishing season is quite a bit longer than up here in Wisconsin. As you can probably see in the window back there, we've got, a bunch of snow on the ground. We've got, at this time, we've got about, a foot of ice on a lot of the inland lakes.
Yep.
And stuff like that.
January 4th, and this past week I was up north fishing. You were fishing too, Matt, but on a couple of the areas that were well-traveled.
Ice fishing.
Ice fishing, yes. I guess we have to clarify that. There's a foot of ice. There were trucks on the lake on areas that are well packed down. There's pickup trucks driving out already. So that bowfishing season gets cut pretty short when the water gets hard.
Yeah, yep. And like I said, we love archery hunting. We're big archers also.
Yeah.
For bow hunting for whitetails up here. You do a lot of work on your food plots. You do a ton of scouting. I do a bunch of work on the food plots, and we love to do that.
Yeah.
And I did a bunch of actually fall, open water fishing this year on the Mississippi River in October because the weather was so warm up here. So I was doing a lot of perch fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's got to help you down there when you're down in the Mississippi shooting fish. You've got to kind of have in the back of your mind, ooh, where could I come down here to catch some fish in the winter or late fall?
To be honest with you, all the times that I've spent on the river bowfishing, I hardly see perch.
That's true. Yeah.
At nighttime.
The few times I've been with you, I don't remember seeing really
hardly
anything.
See. You'll see the catfish, you'll see a walleye here and there, your northerns and stuff like that, but very seldom do I see, panfish. I take that back. You'll see a lot of bluegills in the shallow waters.
Sure.
But perch, no, you really don't see a lot of perch.
Yeah, they're out deeper usually in the summertime kind of deal. But
Yep. So I guess we'll talk a little bit about kind of how the season ended here for us last year. For the Wisconsin Bowfishing Association, the tournaments here in Wisconsin, it was a ton of fun. Everything between the Big 20 and the numbers division came right down to the last tournament this year on the Mississippi River, and it was awesome. It was tight. For example, for the team that I was shooting on this year, with Jody Bagalki and those guys, chasing scales, going into the last tournament of the year, we were 1 point behind first place. And I believe it was a three-way run for numbers division going into the last tournament of the year down there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Nothing like a little bit of suspense to round out the year.
It was a lot of fun. It put a lot of pressure on you.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. Every shot counts.
I mean, we've shot the Mississippi River a lot, but we still had 2 boats down there scouting. And I'm pretty sure that the first place team did also.
Sure.
The team that was in first. But it makes it really fun doing it that way versus going in and knowing that, they're going to win, and they got it wrapped up for the year. It was a lot of fun, a lot of pressure. But boy, did things change tournament night. We had some storms roll in, thunder, lightning, wind. Thank God it didn't come until 2 o'clock in the morning. But you're out there. You gotta stick it out.
Yeah.
You gotta stick it out. So we shot a couple nice buffs. We shot some good commons. We ran up and down the river a little bit here and there, and we went back to weigh-in, and I was kind of sitting there weighing our fish, and a couple of the guys from our team went over and looked at the other guy's team that's in first place, and they came back, and I could tell right away that we might be in trouble. They got into some good buffs, and they had a lot more buffs than we did. But it was funny because they ended up taking first place in the tournament, and we ended up taking second place.
Oh, wow.
In the tournament. So we ended up losing by 2 points for the WBA championship. We won the Big 20 title the year before, but we came up 2 points shy this year. And congrats to the first place teams. It was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to getting back out there again for the 2022 season.
Sure.
And getting back out there.
I was just in my very limited tournament experience, and just to listen to you talk about all these teams, Matt, I think that when you have a close race like that with a team, not that you don't respect everybody that's in the tournaments, but you just have like a newfound appreciation of guys who can go out there and on a rough night they can still find fish, and they're doing great at all these tournaments. It's just kind of like these guys they deserve it.
Absolutely.
They're putting the work in, and just down the road, that's kind of a cool little factor to know that these guys are gonna do whatever it takes. That puts a little bit more pressure on you and maybe makes you a little bit more of a better tournament shooter down the road.
Absolutely. All you can do is go up and shake their hand and say, hey guys, hell of a job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. Getting to for this coming year now, last year the BAA Worlds was held in South Dakota. For 2022, the BAA Worlds will be held in Louisiana. Battle on the Bayou, July 22nd, which is a Friday night.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. So that's kind of unique.
Okay.
I don't think we've ever had a BAA Worlds. I don't ever remember competing in a tournament on a Friday night, but that's kind of a neat thing that gives, Saturday and Sunday for teams to get back home and whatnot. So yeah, it's on a Friday night this year down in Louisiana. That's Battle on the Bayou.
Yeah,
Yep.
Friday night, that gives you a little bit of time to, after the tournament, maybe get some sleep before you got to get back home to work on Monday or something like that. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, Friday tournaments. I don't know if I've ever heard of one before.
Yep.
On a Friday.
Yep. And then going along with that, the BAA annual spring meeting is Saturday, March 5th at 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Bass Pro Shops in Memphis, Tennessee. That is the Pyramid, I believe.
I was just going to ask you, is that the Pyramid?
I think that's the
Pyramid.
Pyramid.
I think it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a cool place.
So if you want your voice heard, if you want to bring things up, I'm sure that they will also have a Facebook Live going on so you can ask questions. You'll be able to follow right along with that spring meeting. If you have any concerns or any issues, maybe your state is having some issues with some people that are trying to, put tougher regulations on the sport of bowfishing. That's where you need to pay attention to and voice your opinion, and the BAA will help. The BAA did a bunch of great things when they had that terrible hurricane this year down south. I believe it was Hurricane Ida. They raised a lot of money for a lot of some of the bowfishers down the area that had a lot of damage to their areas. And in fact, just here, it was just right after Christmas, I believe, or was it before Christmas when we had those strong storms come through?
Right before Christmas.
It was right before Christmas, and they had some terrible tornadoes right down there where we bowfish in the Kentucky Lake area.
Yeah.
I saw some of the photos. once again, the BAA raised a bunch of money to help out some of the bowfishers up in that area. In fact, one of our pro staffers, Ryan Devine, I saw this on Facebook, and it really makes you think. They knew the storms were coming. They were in their basement. They have 3 kids, I believe, and they sheltered over top of them, and they could hear it coming. And they were actually trapped in their basement from debris and stuff that had come down on top of them for like 4 hours.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
And when they finally got up to go up to see, it was just a slab, and then just the busted off trees and everything in that whole area. They had a direct hit from that tornado down there, and it's just, it makes you think when you hear stories like that of, how dangerous stuff like that can really happen.
Yeah, I know. Corey here at work was telling us a story. He knows a buddy of his knows a buddy or something that was working down there when it happened. And he said that they knew that the storms were coming, but they didn't really know how fast. And he said he was working in a warehouse, and they heard it coming. And I don't know if he was telling you about it. He looked up and he heard what he thought was like hail or something coming, and the whole roof of the warehouse lifted up and off 5 or 6 feet and then slammed down.
Oh, wow.
And walls were starting to fall down and everything. And the guy was pinned for like a couple hours.
That's scary.
And he ended up getting rescued, but it just sounded crazy down there.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Thoughts and prayers to everyone who was affected by that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just getting off topic here. I know we kind of started out by saying how much we enjoy archery hunting and deer hunting also. Derek, why don't you tell us, you mind telling us about your season this year?
Sure.
You had a fantastic archery hunts and rifle hunts this year.
Yeah.
You put some beautiful bucks on the ground this year.
Yeah. That's kind of something I'm obsessed with it. I just live and breathe it, from food plots, deer management, the whole 9 yards of it all. October 28th, I was hunting pretty much the whole month of October. There was 3 deer that we had on camera that I was chasing after, and all of them were coincidentally deer that I had passed on the year before, and they made it through the season. The one I actually ended up getting a deer during archery season on the 28th of October, and it was a warm, low pressure. It was a day that you should not have been in the woods if you listen to all the analytical hunting.
You are one of the guys that follows that.
I do.
The pressures, and you're always like them high pressures.
Yep.
Yep.
And I was sitting in the stand on the 28th, and it was raining, and it was warm, and I heard something walking through the woods, and I look over, and to my surprise, here's Funk, the deer that I was targeting, Funk, and he came walking through, and a doe had come through maybe a half hour earlier, getting tailed by a yearling buck. We're starting to see a little bit of that pre-rut activity. And he was on that same trail, and as he was walking through, I couldn't get him to stop. I was just non-existent. He went running right through. I thought, man, I'm talking 15 yards broadside, just exactly what you dream of, coming right down through the food plot there. And he went up and around we had some standing corn down a little bit further down, and he disappeared. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's terrible. Well, here, 10, 20 minutes later, I had some does work out in front of me, and through the standing corn, like when Moses parted the Red Sea. Oh. Like King Kong busting through the forest, all I see is corn stalks just moving, and I hear bah, bah, and he's coming straight down, and he chases this doe again, 20 yards broadside. I couldn't get him to stop. So he disappeared again. All of a sudden, he came from behind me. All right, he comes from behind me, same deal. And he comes walking 20 yards in front of me, and at this point there was a couple other bucks around. I think that was what brought him back this time, because he was chasing does, but they weren't in heat yet. And he came back into the food plot, and I managed to get him to stop for a brief second. I thought that he was going to stop fully. He did not. When I shot, he actually took another step. Luckily, he was quartering away from me. I hit him probably in the midsection of it. If you poke a dot on that deer, I hit him right in the middle of that of his
like right behind his ribs.
Right behind his ribs.
Yep.
Quartering away. And I thought he was broadside at the time, and I watched him run 70, 75 yards, and I thought, oh boy, keep in mind it's raining, the ground is wet, a blood trail would be really hard. Mm-hmm. And he just leapt up and he fell down right there. I couldn't believe it. But once we got down to him, it was a double lung shot. It entered back, but it clipped both lungs.
Went up into his chest area.
Yep, it exited almost, opposite armpit type of deal.
Sure, that's a good shot.
Yeah, oh yeah, he was a dead deer running the second I hit him.
Yeah.
So that worked out fantastic. And then during rifle season, on the third day of season, I tell you what, Matt, a couple of years ago, I wasn't real big on them. Cell cameras.
Yeah, you like your cell cameras.
They told me that a deer last year, we called him B9. His name was the property that used to be that before it was ours. It was owned by someone with the last name of Brown. So we always called that 80 Browns. And he would only live. He lived in that 80. So we called him Brown 9 last year. Well, he turned into a 10-point deer this year. He daylighted when I was in a different stand Sunday night. Monday I went back up there, had a fantastic hunt, and he came out. And I managed to drop him out in a standing bean field when he came out there. We for the whole year, I thought that deer was 4 years old. Okay, the taxidermist we take him to aged him at 6.5.
Oh my goodness!
Which blew me away.
Wow.
And he had big bases, great looking deer. But that was really cool to see.
Yeah.
And everyone can say, oh, I don't know if he was right, or I thought he was 4, but just someone who probably knows deer and aging, and he takes the lower jaw to age him and whatnot.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, thought he was 6 years old. So all in all, and then I shot some does during the antlerless season. It was just a fantastic hunt. My dad managed to knock down a beautiful deer as well. That was really cool, helping him with that. It was just a really, really cool season. How about yourself, Matt?
I had a lot of fun this year. I got to see some things that I have never seen bow hunting before, and I did a lot. I've done a lot. I've been bow hunting since I was in my early teens.
Right.
And this year I had taken off that end of October to first week of November.
Which we always, every year, you and I have a conversation on what days we should take
absolutely.
off.
and one of the days, I'm sitting in my stand. It's going to be an all-day sit, and not much going on. It was sunny out. There was a high pressure, and it was kind of warm out that day. But at 11 o'clock, I looked across the ridge, and here was a doe walking, and behind her was a nice, mature 8-pointer.
And this was late October, correct? Early November?
This was early November.
Early November,
yep,
okay.
Yep. And he was just walking behind her, and they were heading east away from me. They're on the opposite ridge, and pretty soon they just kind of slowly started working back down my way, and they bedded down together. And I watched them for maybe 20 minutes. Then they got back up, and then he would chase her, and then she would run a little bit short distance, and then they would just kind of he would just walk right behind her as she was browsing around. And
man, she had to be close or in heat, I'm guessing.
So they started walking back the way they came now. They went back to the west now. And she stood, and he bred her.
Oh, you got to watch that?
I got to see. Wow. And he bred her. And soon they both laid down, and I watched them for an hour and a half. They were bedded down on the opposite ridge from me. And after about an hour and a half, she got up, and I couldn't see him anymore. But I knew he was bedded down right there next to her. He wasn't going to leave her.
Right.
I could see her the whole time. And she got up, and she started to browse around a little bit, and all of a sudden, yep, there he was. I could see movement, and there he was behind her again. And they're slowly working down towards me, but they're way to the west of me. And as luck would have it, she finally he pushed her a little bit, and she started coming right, going to come right broadside within 15 yards of me.
Wow. And
she's sitting there. There was a fallen tree down about 17 yards from me, and she came on my side of that tree.
Okay.
And he was 5, 6, 7 yards always behind her.
Sure.
And she brought him in perfect. This is where it got hard for me, because he stopped right behind a tree with his chest covered up.
Okay.
And I had another short window between that tree and another tree. That was my shot. Okay. So I'm thinking in my head, okay, when he starts to walk, is he going to do a grunt chase at her? Is he going to stop in that window? Is he going to keep walking through that window? Do I need to grunt?
Right.
Do I need to make him stop?
Right.
So boom, he starts to walk. I draw back, and now I have 3 seconds to think of what to do.
Yep.
And by the time I figured out what to do, he wasn't going to stop. He was just going to slowly walk So I went at the front of the chest and I squeezed it off and I shot right underneath them. So that was, I mean, I got to see a lot of cool, I got to watch that whole process. They were by me for 3.5 hours.
Wow.
Before I finally took my shot.
You had to get the heart pumping.
Yeah. Yep.
I remember you showed me you had a GoPro running, I think.
I did. I had a GoPro running you can see him coming in behind her and you can see I shot and I missed low.
And it was everything left and right was perfect just to check low.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then had a really awesome rifle hunt this year.
You did.
After all these years of sitting outside in the elements in November here in Wisconsin, I finally got my hands on a 6x6 blind. It was in pretty rough shape when I got it. It had been tipped over in a field for a couple of years. It was rotted out in a lot of spots. So I brought it here to the AMS shop and I did a ton of work on it. I put some new windows in it. I bought a hay wagon. I put it up on a hay wagon. We call it the hay wagon blind. And we pulled it back into really close to where I had missed the buck that I shot archery hunting.
Yep.
I put it up a little bit further on the ridge there. And the cool thing is my wife, Julie, has hunted in the past with me. You know, she's also hunted. She's shot a couple deer. But she kind of had stopped here for the last several years. And finally this year, I said, you know, buy another tag again this year. We'll sit together in the blind, you know.
Sure.
So we went back out opening morning. And, man, it was extremely slow. I couldn't figure it out at all. 11 o'clock, we hadn't seen a deer.
A lot of shooting that morning?
Not a lot. No,
Really?
Not much at all. And we're just sitting there in the blind, and it's like 12:15, and we're like, man, this is strange. What's going on?
Yeah.
You know, this is very odd. And it's funny because right before that I said, you know, it takes is a matter of seconds for things to change.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, I looked straight ahead of me down through the valley in the woods there, and I could see a deer walking right towards us. He's out about 150 yards, but I could see the shoulders. And I picked up binoculars, and I was like, "Oh, I said, that's a nice buck, Julie." I could see his antlers shining off the sun, you know,
Sure.
as he's walking towards
Yep.
me. Here's the cool part about it is, he came walking behind that fallen tree that I was telling you about, and he stood behind the upper big branches of it. He stood behind it. He walked around the front of that fallen tree where I had missed my archery buck.
Yep.
And he was standing there kind of looking at me, and I put it right on his front shoulders and squeezed it off, and he dropped right there. And it was kind of cool because wife and I, we walked down there together, and I was like, oh, I recognize this deer, you know. I got pictures of this buck in velvet back in August.
Yep.
It just stopped.
Looking up at your camera. I remember
Looking
the
up at my
picture.
camera, yeah, yep. He did break off some of his main beam on his left side, but still he had some beautiful G2s. He was just a nice
Bone white antlers too on those pictures.
Yeah, yep. So we had a really good season, and I shot a doe archery season here. So we got some good venison sausage and hamburger made up and stuff like that.
Can't beat it.
No. So that's a little bit about our deer season this year.
Yep.
We hope you all had a great deer season out there as well, because I know a lot of you like to bow hunt. I see a lot of pictures out there, so that's really cool. So.
Yeah. One thing that, Matt, you've been doing a lot of work on it. Your gator hunt.
Wow.
This Saturday
I thought.
at 10 a.m. on the AMS Facebook page and the AMS YouTube channel. Make sure to like our Facebook page or subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're putting out little stuff like that. You've got a recap of that gator hunt that you went on.
Yeah.
All kinds of, the guys at Red Shutter were down there with you.
Correct.
Got some absolutely awesome footage and just some really cool, just from what we watched that video this morning, just what I picked up from it is all the different tactics that you guys put into play. I won't spoil anything, but just how you guys went about doing that. You know, it wasn't your typical nighttime
right.
gator hunt.
Yeah, we shot this gator during the daytime.
Yeah, and just some of that footage is really cool. Is there anything that you want to talk about that? I know we don't want to give too much away yet. But
one thing that I think that I want to show in this video was the beauty of what we do. The scenery, the slow motion airboat rides, the slow motion, what you see when you're on the water. I wanted to show that. And then, of course, I wanted to show the hunt itself. I think it's pretty cool how we got this gator. We shot him at 5 yards.
that's crazy.
From the boat during the daytime.
In the daytime, yeah.
It was in the afternoon. It was 5. We started hunting at 5:30. down there. And this is all public waters. It was late in the season, so these gators had been chased hard, you know. And then we take you through when we drop the gator off at the processing plant. And then when we got the meat back here at the AMS shop, I show you how we kind of deep fried it up, and we had a big alligator potluck here, and just some delicious table fare.
Yeah, it tasted like fried chicken.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
That was
everything
that
tastes
was
like
good.
fried chicken.
That's true. That's true. So yeah, you guys just make sure to check that out. Like I said, 10 a.m. this Saturday. That'll go live on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel as well.
Yep.
What's the date today, Matt? January 4th, 2022. I can't believe it's 2022. That's crazy. But we are expecting some terrible weather tomorrow, and that can only mean one thing come this time of year. We are going to haul up and head her on down to Louisville, Kentucky for the 2022 ATA show.
We are. We've got, and like you said, the weather.
It never fails.
It doesn't fail. Every time we either drive back or drive home or drive down there in an ice storm, a winter storm, it does not matter. It doesn't matter. It's just crazy. But yeah, we're heading down to the ATA show this weekend. You can keep checking our Facebook page. We'll be posting some pictures up of us down there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we've got a new product that we're going to dig into here. But we'll discuss that a little bit right after this short commercial.
Why I Bowfish. Hunting fish with a bow. Non-stop action. Never slow. By day, by night. Great shots. Great fights. With family, with friends. Trash talk never ends. And kids, they love it. If they miss, think nothing of it. By foot, by boat, by board or canoe. How you do it is up to you. Aim low. Shoot fast. Watch your shadow. Watch the grass. Shoot carp, raise, or gar. Shoot 'em close. Shoot 'em far. Stout arrow. Barb tip. Retriever reel. Let 'em rip. Bowfishing. Give it a shot.
All right, and we're back here, and I'm going to have Matt tell you guys a little bit about a product that we, over this past year, we put lots of R&D and time into it. Matt, you went on several trips shooting it, before we, announced it or anything. Matt, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about the new Hooligan V2?
That's right, the Hooligan V2. I'm just going to quickly go over a couple of basic specs on this. We've got a draw weight from 24 to 50 pounds. Draw length ranges from 22 inches to 32 inches. We've got an axle on the 50-pound post at 34 3/4 inches, and axle on the 40-pound post is coming in at 34 inches. The bow weighs in at 3 1/4 pounds. But we added some really cool features that I think are great for the sport of bow fishing and for bow fishers out there. Once again, the Hooligan V2 is going to have the same cams with the A post and B post, the rapid adjust post, to where you can have you've got your full maximum efficiency on either 40 pounds of draw weight range or 50 pounds of draw weight range. If you're unfamiliar with the rapid adjust post, so basically what it does is if you have a bow and you're bow fishing and you're shooting, say, 50 pounds, okay, and you're shooting a lot of small fish, you're shooting through those fish, you don't need that much draw weight.
Yep.
So what you do is you take your Allen wrench and you put it in a limb pocket bolt and you back it down, all right? You back it down to 30 pounds or whatever. Well, what happens when you do that is you open and expose the limb pockets, all right? Right there, you lose efficiency.
Yep.
Your string stretches and becomes limper as well. You lose efficiency there as well, all right? Well, with the rapid adjust post, you can have your limb pockets completely tight, string tight on either the 40-pound draw weight or the 50-pound draw weight. Yep. All right, so you have that. So basically, that's the rapid adjust post or the wrap cams. But one of the cool features that we've added to those cams is a heavy wall deep V cam.
Yeah.
All right. Now this is quite a bit different than the normal deep cams that we've had on bow fishing bows, and they're on some other bow fishing bows out there as well. The cool thing about the Hooligan V2 deep V cams is they're flared.
Yep.
All right, they're flared. Now, why is that critical? That's very critical because, let's face it, in bow fishing, you can take archery form and throw that right in the water.
Yeah. Yep.
We're taking awkward angle shots. When you're practicing for deer hunting, elk hunting, turkey hunting, whatever, with your bow, you're anchoring, you're coming back to the same spot every time. Your form is nice and beautiful.
Yep. You got time to do it.
You can throw that right out the window.
Yeah.
In bow fishing. I mean, how many times have you seen a new time bow fisher draw a bow back and they got that string, like 7 inches away from their face?
Yep.
Well, what happens when they shoot that is they release that string. Now that cam, as it's spinning around, has to guide that string back in.
Yep.
All right? It's way off center.
Yep.
And what would happen on those deep V cams is those cams were thin-walled and they were deep.
Yep.
Well, when it would try to pull that string back in on those shots, it actually would tear those cam walls. The string would tear right through those cam walls. Mm-hmm. Well, if you look at the Hooligan V2 heavy wall deep V cams, you can see that nice flare in there, and the walls are heavy.
Yeah.
All right. So what's going to happen with the heavy wall deep V cam system is it keeps a string in the bottom of the valley on your frantic shots on fleeting fish. Many times in the heat of the moment, our shooting form goes out the window, like I said, and we pull the string to the side and release rather than using proper form and drawing straight back to the anchor in your face. And the deep V cams are going to help bring that string back in. The flaring is going to help bring that string back in. And the heavy wall is going to prevent that from tearing the cams.
Yeah.
It's a really, really nice feature on the Hooligan V2.
Yeah.
Another great feature on the Hooligan V2 is we have barrel nuts inside the limb pocket bolts.
Yep.
All right. Why is that critical? Well, if you don't have those limb pocket bolts in there, your threading for your limb pocket bolt or your screw, your threading is inside the riser
Itself.
itself.
Yeah.
It's threaded right into that aluminum riser.
Yep.
Well, over time, turning those up and down and getting different draw weights adjusted and turning those limb pocket bolts, those can become, stripped out.
Yep.
They can become very hard to turn. Well, with the limb pocket bolts, the new ones that we have, the inserts, the threading takes place right in those.
Yeah.
So it makes it a lot easier to adjust the draw weights. You won't have the stripping of the threading happening as well. And you could actually visually see the limb pockets. You can see that bolt as you're turning it down. You don't have to worry about the Hooligan V2, like if you turn it down too far, it blowing apart.
Right.
It'll just become so limp that the limbs will come out so far and the string becomes so limp and that's how you would adjust the rapid adjust post that way, by turning it way down.
Yeah.
So those are really nice features as well. And one cool little thing that we added is a cable slide stop also. And this prevents overdrawing on a bow. All right. So there's actually a set screw right inside the cable slide, and it just prevents overdrawing of the bow before the shot. No let off. Mm-hmm. Man, I absolutely love bow fishing bows with no let off.
Yeah.
I can shoot at 14 inches of draw. I can shoot at 21 inches of draw. I can shoot all the way back to the corner of my mouth at 30 inches of draw.
Right. Sometimes you don't have time to come back to full draw, and being able to do that and not be, worrying about a back wall of let off can really be a game changer in whether you hit that fish or not.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
Absolutely.
I would say it's just overall just a very forgiving, all around universal bow, to be honest.
Yes.
I know you had some footage, man. You're showing me this morning. It was you, Julie, and Mara in South Dakota. Is that correct? South Dakota this past year? And all three of you guys are comfortably shooting the V2. And I'm guessing it was all kinds of varying draw weights, draw lengths.
Absolutely.
You were probably shooting 50, Mara and Julie maybe 40 with a shorter draw length.
Mara was probably shooting closer to in the 20s.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
That just goes to show again right there. You can, anybody can shoot it, and you're all shooting the same bow.
Right. And it's also got a cool cryptic raid camo on it. It's kind of that black and gray. The Hooligan V2 can be bought in as a bare bow, or it can also be bought in as a kit.
Yeah.
The kit includes, our speedy 610 TNT retriever. It comes with the tidal wave rest, which is a contained arrow rest that holds your arrow in place when a shot needs to be taken, because we're all swinging back and forth at those fleeting fish and stuff like that there. So it's a cool rest on there. And then it also comes with one white fiberglass arrow with the safety slide and the chaos point on there.
Everything you'll need.
Everything you need.
Shoot some fish.
Absolutely. So with that, I think we're probably going to wrap this one up, Schmitty.
Yeah, that's just a good little. We just wanted to let everyone know what's going on. Season 4, we're going to be better about it this year.
Going to try to.
We're going to try to drive safe down to Louisville.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the ATA show is going to be it'll be cool to see what everyone else has got down there for new product, and it should be a good week here.
Oh, one thing I got to mention there, D. Schmitty.
Oh boy.
Is I know a lot of you are Packer fans out there. Aaron Rodgers fans, Devontae Adams. Man, we got Dillon running back. We got Jones at running back. We got some young receivers that are doing amazing out there.
It's fun watching them play. And you're
looking pretty darn good, Smitty.
I don't want to say anything, but Super Bowl. we've been burnt by the championship game in the last couple of years, so we're a little bit leery on getting too hyped up about it. But boy, it's been fun up here in Wisconsin. And the Bucks won it all last year. Man. Brewers had a good team, had the Cy Young on the team, so it's been good up here for Wisconsin sports.
I feel just terrible for you Chicago Bear fans and you Minnesota fans and a lot of you other football teams. We've had 2 quarterbacks
over the last 35 years. And they're both first ballot Hall of Famers.
Oh my gosh, you got the old Favre and Rodgers. We've been lucky that way with the Packer team.
Our time's coming. Don't get it twisted. We'll be in that quarterback purgatory here soon, but we're going to enjoy this while it lasts. That's for darn sure.
And you can keep checking right now on our Facebook pages. On our AMS Facebook page, we have the hit or miss going on, where we show a video of a bow fishing shot, and we freeze the frame right before the shot is taken. And then you got to guess if it was a hit or miss. And then every Monday, we reveal if it was a hit or miss. And then we draw one lucky person's name for a little prize.
What have you given away so far this year,
We've given away shirt hat combos.
Okay.
We've given away a couple of AMS Captain Gaffs. We've given away, I can't think of the goofy name of those.
Net gaiters?
No, those line cutters.
Oh, line cutters.
Line cutters.
Yep.
Those are great little tools. And we have all this stuff on the AMS Facebook page, so you can check all that stuff out. We've got a bunch of short little videos out there on the points and how they release out of the fish. We're adding just a bunch of stuff to our social media. So keep going there and checking all that stuff and make your guesses on the AMS hit or misses. And we're just going to try to stick with you here the best we can this year and keep you up to date on what's going on in the bow fishing world and other things out there as well. But with that, I think we're going to wrap it up, Schmitty. Yeah. And I think we'll do a product highlight on our sponsor.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
How about we got right over there? You're kind of the man over there when it comes to the Megamouth reel.
Yeah, I do love. I'm kind of doing a lot of the building and design work with it. But the Megamouth reel, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of it. It's a first spin cast style reel that was built strictly for bow fishing. All of the gearing is machined right here on our machines in the shop. Stainless steel and brass gearing. 28 inches of line per revolution. It was designed to eliminate all of the problems you've ever had with a spin cast style bow fishing reel. The design we've spent probably 5, 6, 7 years just perfecting it before we even released it out onto the market. And now we have the Megamouth 2.0, which just has a couple little bit more added features. You know, you release a product onto the market, and the Megamouth did fantastic. But we just, you know, we hear things from you guys, and just so you guys know too, you guys absolutely have a voice. You know, if you ever have, you know, little tweaks or things that you want to see on future products, that's totally stuff that at least here we totally take into, you know, designing and preparing for future product work. So the Megamouth, it comes with 30 yards of line installed, and it was really just designed for hauling fish into the boat without having to touch the line. You pull that T-bar back and reel down on that fish. We've got some footage on our Facebook and YouTube as well, Megamouth, just showing what it's all about. So make sure you guys check that out. It was just a reel built strictly for bow fishing, and we all know the stress and tension that bow fishing equipment goes through in a season. So make sure to check out Megamouth Bowfishing reels.
That's right. And one thing that I know Megamouth is very proud of, just as much as AMS is extremely proud of, is made right here in the USA.
Absolutely.
Not only in the USA, but right here in this shop.
When you guys order stuff from AMS, Megamouth, the people who put them together are the same people, one, that are talking to you right now,
right.
Matt and myself, and then otherwise it's people who use the equipment in the field. I think that's what's really cool. It's not coming off of an assembly line overseas.
Right.
It's durable, it's well made, and it's just really cool. I take a lot of pride in having those for our products.
All the brass gears are made right back in the shop in the milling department.
Yep.
The transmissions.
Yep.
You know, all the small little parts are made right back there in the milling department.
Yeah, like for the Megamouth, our drag system. We have a drag system on the Megamouth. All those little pieces and parts, they're made right back on our machines. Awesome. Yeah, and if we have a little plastic part that we need, or a heavy duty plastic, we'll have it get molded at our sister company over in Abbotsford. It's all right here, very central, family owned. It's just a really cool little niche that we have in the industry, that's for sure.
I think it's cool because we don't send these designs overseas and have them put it together and put us prototypes together and send them back here to us, and then we go out and shoot it and test it, and then we send it back over there, and then they put them together on assembly lines over there. No, everything that we do here at AMS and Megamouth is done right here in this shop in Stratford, Wisconsin.
Yep, and that's very cool. Very cool. A lot of people appreciate that too.
Right. So with that, we're gonna wrap up Season 4, Schmitty.
Oh my gosh, we're getting old, Matt. Getting old.
And like I said, you can keep checking with us here. Like I said, we're heading down to the ATA show tomorrow morning. You can keep checking our Facebook page. We'll be posting some pictures out there of the booth and what's all kind of going on down there. So from all of us at AMS Bowfishing and
Megamouth Bowfishing,
we will see you next time on Season 4, Episode number 2. Best of luck to you out there. Take care.
Thanks for listening, guys.